Whenever someone asks me the age-old question of what do you like to watch during Halloween, I usually say things like Saw or even Halloween. And even during Christmas, I'll watch things like The Grinch. But you know what I rarely get asked? Hey Ty Vincible, what do you like to watch during the month of November? And no, it's not Freebird.
Oh, sorry bro. 2 weeks from retirement. Good luck. Ow, my fucking dick!
It's actually this particular show called Over the Garden Wall, which technically isn't a movie, but a 10-episode miniseries that, despite being aimed at children, has some pretty eerie moments that make this show heavily Halloween coded, but yet it also fits as a show that you can watch in November. I actually wait for that perfect time in between Halloween and Thanksgiving to go back and give Over the Garden Wall another gander. I'm telling you wholeheartedly, if you like things like Adventure Time, Gravity Falls, and Courage the Cowardly Dog, this show scratches that same itch. Man, Cartoon Network kids were eating good back in the day, huh? Now all they play is like Teen Titans Go reruns. So before we go into why this show is goated, allow me to speak on the premise a little bit. There's these two half-brothers, Wart, who is anxious and a bit of a pessimist, and his younger, more optimistic brother, Greg, who become lost in this mysterious, fantastical forest called the Unknown, and they must find their way home. As they journey, they encounter a bizarre cast of characters and creatures, and they are also stalked by an ominous being called the Beast. Ah! Hey, you gotta subscribe if I jump scared you. But no, seriously, who names their kid Wart? Yo, shout out to all the Warts out there. And the music has to be one of the biggest highlights of this show. Like, I truly wouldn't be doing it justice if I didn't mention Over the Garden Wall soundtrack. It just does something to the soul once you listen to it that will have you hooked. You gotta listen to it to fully understand what I'm talking about. Another immaculate thing about this show is how beautiful it looks. This show looks like an old children's book that's been animated and put over hand-painted backgrounds that look like I got transported into a world that's always set in November. So I plan to go over each episode and break down the themes, mysteries, and whatever else I can come up with. Starting with the first episode, Chapter 1, The Old Grist. So Wart and Greg travel through the woods and get lost as they stumble upon a woodsman chopping wood with a lamp that holds more importance than it lets on. They also meet Beatrice, the talking bird.
A bird's brain isn't big enough for cognizant speech.
Hey, what was that?
Who instantly dips as they follow the woodsman to his crib. He tells the duo about the beast and how it craves lost souls. And in the first episode, there's a lot of focus on the woodsman and his lamp.
Everyone has a torch to burn, and this one is mine.
This nigga is crazy.
But that's when Greg runs into this weird monster thing that tweaks the freak out and tries to eat them. Well, tries to eat Greg's candy, really. And this is actually the first deception of the miniseries. As we find out, the giant wolf wasn't a monster at all, just a candy-hungry dog that swallowed a turtle.
Spit up that turtle and now he's my new best friend. Oh.
I also need to mention how timid and super second-guessy Wart is to himself in the starter episode.
I'm sorry. Maybe I can fix it? I can fix it.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, bro definitely isn't built for this adventure. Which leads us into Chapter 2, Hard Times at the Huskin Bee. As the boys continue their journey, Greg and Wart find the talking bird again as they get her free from that thorn bush. And she, frame one, tells them about a character named Adelaide, who she claims can help them get back home.
Bring you to Adelaide of the pasture, the good woman of the woods. She can help you get home.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
But Wart turns that down in return for a village with very interesting culture. At first it's thought to be a ghost town until the duo turned trio stumble upon a group of people dancing and singing in pumpkin gear. And it's very creepy vibes all around. I'm never visiting Pottsville. So then Wart accidentally pisses the gang off, killing the whole mood. Vibe killing must be illegal in this town because that boy Enoch forces them into doing a bunch of chores.
Now let me get this straight. You come to our town, you trample our crops, you interrupt our private engagement. Now you want to leave. I sentence you to a few hours of manual labor.
Wait, what?
But it's the last one that got everybody on their toes, as they're digging holes big enough to fit bodies in. So then out of nowhere, two spooky, scary skeletons come out and don their pumpkin drip.
Spooky, scary skeleton. send shivers down your spine.
To join the function, as we get our second deception of this series, being that the pumpkin people never planned to hurt them. Hell, they even let the three go free after a hard day's work.
Sure you want to leave?
Me? Yes.
Oh, well, you'll join us someday.
What do you mean by that?
And just like that, we're on to chapter 3, School Town Follies. And this is where Beatrice the bird presses Wart's buttons so bad, Twin starts to mess with her by doing anything anybody tells him. So as they journey to a school with a classroom full of animal kids, and a baddie teacher I might add.
No, you a freak, boss.
Wart forces himself to stay, as Greg stays outside on his high school dropout, getting into some classic shenanigans. He meets up with the other animal kids, finds boomer cats,
Wait, no, I think that cat is too old.
and is chased by a gorilla, but they escape. And that's when we find out that this school has garbage lunch meals. And I thought my school was bad. So Greg then lightens the mood with a certified hood classic,
Potatoes and molasses. If you can't see 'em, put on your...
as teacher Batty's dad pulls up and Swiper no swiping their instruments away. But Greg doesn't take that disrespect lightly, and that's when the gang overhears the principal yapping about how he needs to pawn off all them instruments to afford the schoolhouse, thus deceiving us into believing that bro was a chump. So bro wakes up to see Greg orchestrated a plan to earn money, yes, pun intended. And by the way, ever since they met teacher Batty, she's been singing and begging for her hubby to return, as it's revealed old buddy was the gorilla monster chasing Greg earlier. It's just that his spring locks failed, thus trapping him in that gorilla suit, and everybody was too afraid to help him. So now that everyone's cool with each other, Wart and Greg start to grow on Beatrice more, and we lead into chapter 4, Songs of the Dark Lantern. As the woodsman lurks in the dark forest, we see our gang hitch a ride to a creepy old tavern to get directions. They stumble upon a couple of interesting townsfolk who immediately kick Beatrice out. I mean, it was instant.
It's a bad omen when a bluebird enters through your door. It's bad luck. Lady, bluebirds are good luck.
They were saying a bluebird is bad luck. That's very interesting. So as Beatrice dips, they reveal to Wart and Greg that each civilian has their own specific role to play. There's the baker, the tailor, and even the goat himself, the highwayman.
I'm the highwayman.
Okay, good to know. Well, so you see...
I'm the highwayman. Okay.
As they try to figure out his role to play, ultimately going with the pilgrim, saying that he's on a journey in a brave adventure. Then they talk more about the beast, revealing that he's turned lost souls into trees, and then extracting the oil from said trees to keep his lantern lit. Bro, does that not sound like a plot to a creepypasta that them boys over at Creepcast would cover? So they start to connect the dots and say that the woodsman himself is in fact the beast. As Beatrice gets herself lost in the woods and knocked down right next to the woodsman, Wart quote unquote saves her and dips. We are then shown the woodsman and finally, yes, the beast interacting, as the beast tells bro to keep that lantern lit or the light from his daughter's soul will go out. So yeah, he wasn't the beast. You can add that to the deception counter. So far it's been like 1 per chapter. But before I go on to the next chapter, I'm telling you, the beast's voice, it's so ominous. Like, that junk gives me chills every time I hear the beast speak. And as the episode closes out, the beast lets the woodsman know that, like a Minecraft YouTuber, he's coming after those kids.
What direction did those children go?
But moving on to the halfway point of the miniseries, chapter 5, named Mad Love. It opens with our group hanging out with their quote-unquote uncle. Yeah, they're gaslighting to the extreme, as they try to steal 2 pennies to catch a boat over to Adelaide's house.
I want to steal.
Unc then starts talking about how he's seeing a ghost woman. Also, an important bit of lore drop happens when Beatrice reveals that she was a human before.
I was a human fool.
You used to be human?
which I'm pretty sure the show left hints for prior to this reveal. Beatrice also gives a reason to how she got transformed into a blue bird, saying she threw a rock at one, which cursed not only her but her entire family. That's the pettiest blue bird I've ever heard of, but whether or not you believe this story is completely up to you. But the part where she says that she would do pretty much anything to turn her family back is very crucial. Anyway, Unc leads Greg throughout this gigantic mansion. I mean, this junk is like if two Wayne Manors fused together, and they're going to try and see the ghost. But you see, dear viewers, the deception of this chapter is that she was no ghost, just another person with a mansion so big they joined together. Man, rich people problems, am I right? So in the end, Unc ends up getting him a girl, and the group gets their 2 pennies. Except not, because this man Greg throws the coins away for a bit. Little dude really rage baiting at this younger age is crazy.
Cause Uncle Endicott pegged me all wrong. I've got no sense.
You stupid.
But that leads us to chapter 6, Lullaby in Frogland, and we see the squad taking a boat to Adelaide's. How'd they get on the boat? Well, they kind of snuck on it, and now have to dress up and hide from the froggy cops. We also get a glimpse of Beatrice warming up to Wart, and she also seems to be hiding something.
The best part is, we're still on track to get to Adelaide's.
Yep, that's great.
You don't seem thrilled.
Well, I just...
Kinda sus. So as the boat comes to a stop, they camp out with the frogs, as it kinda seems like Beatrice doesn't want them to go to Adelaide's house after all. So she gets the bright idea to storm off and confront Adelaide, as we find out that not only is Adelaide freaking crazy,
I'm all alone in the world. I want a child servant.
but Beatrice had a deal with her to bring a child servant in order to get those scissors to turn her family human once again. That's pretty wild, I know, especially when Greg and Wart chase after her and get trapped. Thankfully, Beatrice grows a liking to the pair as she straight up slays Adelaide, Wicked Witch of the West style. But that's when Greg and Wart dip, as Wart feels betrayed, or yeah, you know what I'm gonna say, deceived by that Blue Jay's actions, ending that chapter on a somber note and leading us to chapter 7, the ringing of the bell. So Wart, being at his wits end, takes a little bit of his frustration out on Greg. That'll definitely be important later. As they run into the woodsman once again, Bro gives them yet another warning about the beast and about not giving up.
Part of this dark forest. Only if you give up. Keep hearty in both body and spirit, and you shall be safe.
Of course, they don't listen and run off into a shack belonging to a girl and her aunt, who she immediately tells them to hide from. Yet not a single red alarm goes off in that boy Greg's head. As the aunt gets home, she says something really sinister.
Has anyone come here today?
Nay, Auntie, not a soul.
And no one shall be devoured alive tonight.
As Auntie Whispers starts looking for the pair, they pass the skill check and she heads off to bed. Once the coast is clear, they convince Laura, that girl right there, to dip after revealing that her life is trash. She cleans all day and coughs non-stop. So when Greg accidentally wakes Auntie up, they run from her and lock themselves in the closet with Laura. And this reveal gave me nightmares as a kid.
Oh, for some reason I thought that old lady was the people eater.
Yep, folks, she was the imposter all along. Damn, Greg and Wart finna have dummy trust issues after this one. But if you're listening closely to what Auntie Whispers was saying, you could pick up on the fact that she was trying to warn them. So as they get chased outside and almost devoured, Greg rings the bell that the frog ate to break the curse. Even after that small victory, Wart still slowly starts to lose hope on getting back home. And this is exactly what the beast wanted. No, needed. So then the beast also puts the woodsman back in check, reminding him that he needs more wood to keep his daughter's soul alive in that lamp.
Don't you care about keeping the lantern lit? Don't you care about your daughter's soul?
One cannot trade the souls of children as if they were tokens.
This is like FNAF levels of messed up. I mean, look at the woodsman's face. You know he's done some heinous deeds to keep that light on. As we're wrapping up towards the last few episodes, things really start to get get thought-provoking. Now on to chapter 8, Babes in the Woods. We are met with a depressed Wart and an optimistic Greg as they hear the beast start to chant echoes throughout the woods, and it is honestly very creepy. Like, he's been doing that lumberjack melody throughout this series, and every time he starts, it just sets a really unsettling mood. I mean, just imagine you're alone in the woods on a bone-chilling night and you just start to hear this in the distance. So then Wart continues on this giving up wagon as he completely gives up on getting home. Then as the two sleep, Greg is visited by angels or something like that as they take him to heaven, a cloud city, and it's really a dream come true for Greg. Bro is getting turned up there. But that's when the Old North Wind pulls up with his banger soundtrack and starts big time hating. Boy looking like a Cuphead villain. So then he ends up getting bottled like a chump as the Queen of the Clouds repays Greg with a wish. Greg then wishes to be sent home with his brother, but you see, Wart can't come with Greg because he's given up.
See how the edelwood grows around him? The beast has claimed him already.
So Greg makes a different wish that we don't hear, but later we see him following the voice of the beast. So it leads me to believe that all along the beast was tricking Greg with a fake dream. Or maybe all that stuff really did happen and this is just a part of his wish. See, I told you things are gonna get really thought-provoking. So as Wart snaps out of his depression a little bit, he runs after them only to slip and break through the ice Walking Dead style. But unlike Luke, he doesn't die as bro is saved by Beatrice. And this leads us to the second to last chapter, chapter 9, Into the Unknown, as we get a prequel to the first chapter, seeing Wart and Greg back to their normal home as they go through their Halloween shenanigans. We see normal looking kids, and we even get Wart crushing hard on a girl named Sarah, as we see Wart's insecurities on full display. He tries to steal back a mixtape he made for her, and I mean bro is on his Mordecai timing. He can't even pick up the signs that she's low-key into him, and it's honestly hilarious. Okay, here's some advice from y'all on whether or not a girl is interested by old man Ty Vincible. If she's making eye contact with you,
You're here. Well,
saying that she was asking other people about you,
I was just asking if you were here.
and inviting you to a second location to hang,
I'm just gonna hang out and drink age-appropriate drinks. Hey, you should come.
bro, that's all you're in the green. Ask her out ASAP. But I can see why Wart would be intimidated by this absolute unit, Jason Thurneberger.
Yeah?
do you believe in ghosts?
Why?
Because there's one right behind you.
In all honesty, Jason's voice sounds hilarious. Like, every time I hear it, it cracks me up. I even quote him every now and then. So they follow Sarah and the gang over to the cemetery as they get scared by the cops and end up dipping. Greg and Wart start to run away and almost getting murked by this train. As they barely dodge it, they end up falling and crashing into this lake. That's when Wart wakes up next to Beatrice's family as he vows to go out and save his little bro, leading us into the final episode, chapter 10, The Unknown. You get it right because they were initially going into the unknown in the last episode. Anyway, Greg is fetching items for the beast as bro is asking him to do exhausting tasks to break old boy's spirit, and it's low-key working.
Lower the sun out of the sky and into this china cup.
That sounds impossible.
Back onto the woodsman, we see bro is running out of fuel, but that's when he starts to hear the beast singing in the woods as he shows the woodsman Greg turning into another tree.
I have something for you. What have you done?
He starts to egg bro on to end it and keep the fire going. As he lashes out at the beast, Wart and Beatrice try to free Greg to no avail. So the beast comes back after clapping up the woodsman, making quick work of him. He offers Wart the deal to keep the lantern lit and Greg's soul stays alive.
Well then, perhaps we better make a deal. I can put his spirit in the lantern. As long as the flame stays lit, he will live on inside.
And Wart almost instantly agrees, but that's when he comes to his senses and then calls the beast bluff and proves that the lantern never held the soul of the woodsman's daughter.
A weird obsession with keeping this lantern lit. It's almost like your soul is in this lantern.
So after ore farming on the Beast, Greg and Wart reunite with Beatrice as they rekindle their friendship. Wart gives her the scissors that he used to free himself from Adelaide's trap that will turn her and her family back human. As she says her final goodbyes, we're left with the final confrontation between the Beast and the Woodsman. And the Beast is talking reckless, saying how he'll never see his daughter again and that he needs to chop down those children to keep her alive. The Beast is truly a interesting character, bro. Like, it talks its way out of so many problems. Did you notice that he breaks people down and wait until they're at their lowest point before he strikes a deal? Like, think about the options he gave Ward. He waited until Greg was at the brink of turning into an Edelwood tree before he struck his deal, because he knew that the Woodsman was too problematic. Now that Greg and Ward aren't an option for him anymore, he's back onto the Woodsman, hitting those sensitive points about his daughter being gone. But the fascinating thing about the Woodsman is, even through tears in his eyes, he blows out that light and accepts the consequences. As we're shown probably the biggest deception of this miniseries, and that is the Beast's light was in fact the one that he was kindling.
No! Listen!
And thus finally blowing it out, the Beast is gone. And so Greg pulls his brother out of the water, redeeming him for being a jerk to him earlier. And then we get to see the happy endings of all the people over the garden wall. The Woodsman's daughter is alive, Unc is chilling with his girl, and even Beatrice is here, finally human and finally home. Man, this is a good show. I always get this warm feeling after watching this masterpiece. But now it's time for the theories. And there are pretty much endless theories about Over the Garden Wall, but here are some of my favorites. The unknown is really purgatory. This theory suggests that the series depicts a purgatory or afterlife, with the unknown being the space where souls go after death, particularly those who have drowned or died in a tragic way. Wart and Greg are unconscious in the river after falling, suggesting their journey is a near-death experience. The Beast collects the souls of those who give up hope, turning them into Edelwood trees that contain some sort of soul juice. Characters like Beatrice and the Woodsman may represent souls stuck between life and death, only passing on when they complete their journey. Another interesting theory is that the Beast is a metaphor for depression or hopelessness. The Beast could represent the darkness that consumes people when they lose hope. The evidence, the lantern's light, which the Woodsman keeps burning, symbolizes like hope or life. The Beast feeds on despair, and when the Woodsman believes his daughter's soul is in the lantern, he literally keeps the light alive through his grief. But when the truth is revealed, the Beast's power disappears, as if the light/hope dispels darkness. The last theory I want to point out is a less likely one, but it's still pretty interesting. Time travel or alternate realities theory. Some fans think that Over the Garden Wall exists outside linear time, possibly as a pocket universe or dream reality. The evidence, the old-timey setting doesn't match the modern world that Wart and Greg originate from. Time and death don't behave normally. Beatrice, the Woodsman, and the Beast all seem stuck in a loop. But hey, that's just a theory. But yeah, moving on from the theories, I also love how much character growth is shown from, well, character to character. Take Wart for an example. Chapter 1 Wart and Chapter 10 Wart are almost two different characters. I mean, look how confident he was while battling the Beast.
Are you ready to see true darkness?
Are you?
Let that nigga know!
Chapter 1 Greg couldn't even tie his own damn shoes without directions. It's only when he believes in himself and his judgment that he's able to finally spit game at Sarah. Or take Greg, who might have gotten overshadowed in character growth. He still has his time to shine. I mean, look how this mad lad went from doing idiotic things like throwing away money that they needed for a meme, or even fooling around with animal kids, to doing anything for the Beast just to help his brother out. But I also love that his silly nature never fades. We could really use more people like Greg out in this world. But while we're talking about character growth, I need to speak on my GOAT, the Woodsman, as he's actually my favorite character throughout the entire series. He's been straight up chopping down lost souls, feeding the beast unknowingly for years, roaming through the woods with the beast so much that people started to think he was in fact the beast himself. Only in letting go of his fears and grief could he overcome the beast and embrace his daughter, a new man. The Woodsman, at least in my eyes, is a cautionary tale of over-fixating on grief and isolating oneself. Let me get a little serious with y'all for a moment. So when my mother died, it was the worst day of my life. Each day passed, I shut down, stopped talking to family. I mean, this lasted weeks until I got a phone call, and I'm telling you, within months, my foster mom passed away. The reason this correlates is because, like the Woodsman, I was too focused on who and what I lost that it stopped me from spending time with people who still needed me. It's just a really important lesson to me that I think we can all reflect on. Sappy lesson aside, Over the Garden Wall has to have some of the most insane foreshadowings, especially in the opening of chapter 1. Like, we see the rock that Greg took and played with, also he put it back at the end. We also see the Woodsman and his daughter before the events of the show, but I'll let y'all find out the other ones once you watch this show. Yeah, I said once you watch it, not if. But that's pretty much it for me. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe. And thanks for watching. Hopefully you liked it. But if you didn't enjoy the video, maybe you'll like this one. But I'm out of here. Peace.